Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do a full garden tour of everything that's going on indoors as well as outdoors in all of my growing spaces. So come with me and let's get started. Today is April 11th and it's a beautiful day outside, so I figured this would be the perfect day to take you on a tour so you can see everything growing indoors as well as outdoors. And that will include all of my fruit trees and bushes and everything. So we will first start with the vegetables that I'm hardening off. So let's start there. It's a very bright sunny day, but I want you to see everything that I have hardening off outdoors here in my space. So let's go in just a little closer here. So this is broccoli, and wow, look how big it's getting. It's so large that it's covered up my potato here. So this is a potato plant that I started with last year's potatoes. I have some lettuce here, which I've cut off of this lettuce now 3 times and it's still coming back. Here's some more lettuce. I will be harvesting more of that probably later today. And then down here, I have some little seedlings that I could put in the ground any day if I was ready to put it into the ground. There's some onion, and there's more onion right there. This tray here is only on day 3 of hardening off. So I'm watching these very closely. I want to make sure they're not getting sunburnt or anything like that, but this is on day 3. I'll just keep going across the back here. I am hardening off my tomatoes. Look at all 200 plus tomatoes that we have back here, as well as some tomatillos, but I put them in the tomato family even though they're not in the same family. So all of these tomatoes are on day 3 as well of being hardened off, and we want to make sure that they get some sun, but not too much sun today. Everything down here is fully hardened off. So we have some romaine lettuce, we have some herbs, 2 containers that didn't make it when we put them out here to harden off. They kind of just bit the dust. I don't even remember what was in there, but they didn't make it. Some more lettuce over here. 3 containers of some rhubarb down there. There's some Napa cabbage, bok choy. There's broccoli, leeks, more broccoli, cauliflower, some lettuce, and some more Napa cabbage down here. And in this container here, it's on day 1 of being hardened off. So I kind of keep those separate so I can kind of keep up with them. I'm only going to leave them out here for about an hour, and then I'm going to take them back inside. And then tomorrow I'll leave them out here for maybe 2 hours, and we'll go through that process till we're about a week of being hardened off, and then I will just leave them out here. Over here are the 4 green stalks that I have set up now. The one here on the left is all lettuce. There are a few carrots in there and a little bit of some bok choy or pak choy. The second one here is all greens, whether we're talking about mustard greens, kale. I have curly kale, I have dinosaur kale, and then in the very bottom of this one here, in the very bottom, there's some pak choy. This tower here is completely set up, but it is not completely filled. I have herbs in the bottom of this tower and strawberries that hopefully will wake up here. If they don't wake up in the next couple of weeks, I will replace them. And then the last tower here, we have bok choy that I've harvested completely twice now. And we will get ready to harvest this again here very soon. And collards in the middle. And at the very top is all carrots. Okay, right here, these 2 plants are raspberries. And they're already waking up for the season. Look at that. They have green leaves on them. So these three here are blackberries. I'm going to go in close so you can see if they're starting to wake up. There's some leaves coming in and more leaves coming in down here and leaves up high as well. This is a blueberry bush. And here's another blueberry right here. You see it's waking up. You see the little leaves. Look at those leaves coming to life. Don't pay attention to the grass. I'm going to have to make that first grass cutting sometime this week. This is one of my peach trees that's waking up here. Hello. This is a dwarf peach tree. So it's only going to get about 6 feet tall when it's the most mature. Once it's fully mature, this peach tree here, and these are Reliance peaches, and these are perfect for my grow zone, which is 6A. Now this is the healthiest peach tree that I have. The leaves are coming on. I don't see any blooms, which I think that means I'm not going to get peaches this year, but this is really the first full season for this tree because I planted this tree late last year, late in the spring, so we had already missed the blooming timing for this particular tree. So we might not get peaches this year, but that's okay. In this pot here, we have blueberries. There's a lot of road construction in the area, so hopefully you can hear me okay, but this is a blueberry that's just slowly starting to wake up. This is a golden raspberry. So it's yellow in color and it's just starting to wake up. Hello, I see your leaves there. And this is a red raspberry here in this pot. We'll move over to the rest of I call this the fruit orchard. This is a blackberry waking up. There are more blackberries over there waking up. I do believe this blackberry is dead. It's not waking up. I don't see any signs of life. We'll let it go another couple of weeks and then we'll put some vegetables there. So there's no loss. Same thing here with this one. I don't see it waking up. So we are going to assume it's not going to make it, but that's okay because we will add something else to that container. And then back here is another peach tree that stayed dormant for almost a year. And then all at once it woke up. So I'm hoping that it'll wake up again this year and it'll get healthy and it'll get some stronger roots. But you can see there are some leaves that are coming on this plant. And now let's talk about the apple trees. I have 3 apple trees and they are waking up as well. My apple trees, I have a Fuji reachable is what it's called. Fuji reachable. And the Fuji is waking up. A reachable tree stays very short. I mean, at most maybe 5 feet tall, the reachables. I have a Sundance reachable. So the reachables are even smaller typically than a dwarf tree. And the reachables come from Gurney's. So Gurney's online, gurneys.com, I believe is how you can get to them. And they sell the reachables. And I tell you what, they sell out of them quickly every year. But all 3 of my trees are waking up. And in order to grow apples, typically you need a different variety of apple tree to pollinate your trees. So I did a check and I made sure that the 3 trees that I have will pollinate each other. So eventually we will have apples on these trees. This is my strawberry tower. So it's a GreenStalk. I have 7 tiers here and I like to mix and match a little bit. I like a little art. That's why there are two stone tiers in there. This will be my strawberry tower. I actually disassembled it and gave it some worm castings and fertilizer, and I put it back together, and it desperately needs to be watered now. But hopefully the strawberries will wake up here shortly. And for the ones that don't wake up, we will replace those strawberries. I like to grow ever-bearing strawberries where you get strawberries all summer long versus only getting strawberries in the June or summer months. So we call those June-bearing strawberries. And then here, this is my grape area. I have 3 fire rings here, and we just set these up a couple of weeks ago. I'm hoping these grapevines will wake up here very soon. We added 2 new grape plants, and we had a pretty cold night, so the greenery died back, but I've double checked. The roots, the stems all look very good, so we should be okay there. The strawberries from last year are already coming back in here. I planted strawberries in the outside 2 fire rings so that it can match the one here in the middle. And these strawberries are already coming back from last year. So we'll have strawberries and grapes in these beds here and this pot to the side here, as well as this pot here. I was able to find some pink lemonade blueberries, so they're really pink in color, but they're blueberries. And I've been told that these are some of the best tasting blueberries out there. They're called pink lemonade. And hopefully I'll be able to find a place to put them because I don't have anywhere to put them just yet. Over the last week, I took this grassy area and I've put some weed barrier down, and it's going to start killing back the grass that's underneath there. I'm not finished. I need to finish up because this whole space needs to have a weed barrier around all of the apple trees as well as that peach tree in that container there. So I need to finish doing that. And then we're going to bring in mulch. We're going to mulch that whole area. We'll leave a walkway open on this side and a small walkway open on this side here. I will eventually get to that. Just ran out of time this week. And all of my pots here, all of these pots, these are all potatoes. So I've started, what is that, 16 pots of potatoes, 15 new pots. And this one was in my indoor growing space, and it's full and healthy. I have flowers coming in all over it, and if a flower is on your potato plant, that means there are potatoes beneath. I actually pulled some of the stems back, and I reached down and I dug in, and I was able to find a potato just a little bit bigger than the size of a golf ball. So we know there are potatoes in there, and so hopefully they will continue to grow and get big, and we'll have potatoes a lot earlier since we started them indoors. So I had a small piece of cattle panel left, and I've decided I'm going to put it to this bed here so I can have more places for tomatoes, but I haven't had a chance to take the post driver and get those in the ground yet, but they're just marking where they're going to be. I went ahead and put cauliflower in the ground here, so there's 6 or 7 plants there of cauliflower that I've started. I left this front area here open, and I'm going to put some lettuce there. As the summer months come on, this strawberry tower shades the first spaces of this bed. So lettuce could stand a little shade. Lettuce doesn't want that evening sun, and the evening sun comes in from this direction. So lettuce will work perfect in that space. I have a couple of onion in here that overwintered, and hopefully they will grow this year. So hopefully we'll get some overwintered onion, and if it works, I will do the same thing again this year. This bed here was completely covered in weeds. There were so many weeds in here that I could not weed the bed. So I removed all the dirt from this bed here, all of it. Got rid of all of the dirt. This will just show you just how thick some of those, I mean, it was like a mat. Here's that really thick weed I couldn't get out. So I removed all the dirt from the bed. I just put these beds in just a couple of years ago. The wood's still in really good shape. The frames are amazing. So I put new weed barrier down, and now I just need to fill these beds with some new potting soil. I don't use garden soil. I don't use dirt. I use potting soil in all of my beds, and it's a Pro Mix brand that I prefer. And if I have to buy something from the big box stores, usually it's Miracle Grow Moisture Control. But I tell you what, that's $20 a bag this year. Over here, there's nothing in this space yet, but I have my cattle panels up. And over here, we're going to put winter squash and cucumbers and more tomatoes. We'll have flowers over here as well. The cattle panel arch is up, and we are going to do, I've decided pole beans on there. I think the pole beans will be nice because they have beautiful flowers. So the space is almost ready. I need to remove this piece of wood here so I can open the grow space up in this space here. And then we're going to put snap peas on the back there and maybe some celery in the front. This bed here has nothing in it yet, but it will have tomatoes and peppers and probably onion. I have to look at my map, I don't remember. This bed has nothing in it yet, but I have it set up to receive tomatoes as well as, I believe, broccoli and cabbage in this space. I have put in some of my onion though. So the onion take up this whole side of the bed, and tomatoes will be behind the onion. Next bed, I've started onion here. These are red onion, red burgundy is what they're called. Just put those in just a few days ago, and behind them will be tomatoes, but it's too early to put tomatoes out yet. This bed here will be green beans, bush green beans in this space here. I had planned not to do too many green beans this year, but because I had such a big harvest last year, I have so many green beans. But I tell you what, we've used a dozen jars of green beans in 2 weeks. So between my daughter and friends and family, as well as us enjoying the green beans, I think it's best that I go ahead and do a typical year supply of green beans. I also got in the ground one of my rhubarbs. Rhubarb is a perennial, so hopefully it'll take root, and then I can't harvest it this year. Next year, I'll be able to harvest rhubarb and make some beautiful strawberry rhubarb pie or a rhubarb jam or something like that. Back here is my garlic. What's coming up is just regular garlic. I did have some elephant garlic back here, but I think the squirrels liked it better. So it's all gone. And in this bed here that I did not weed, it's all soft neck and hard neck garlic, no elephant garlic back there. And so you actually plant your garlic in the fall before the ground freezes. And once you get it planted and it gets established, once that freeze hits it, when the ground freezes, it's what actually splits the head up into bulbs. It'll probably be July when it's time to actually harvest the garlic and start drying it out. We have cabbage, I have flat Dutch, I have stonehead, and one early Jersey back here. So there's 6 heads of cabbage in here. Now I'm trying to stagger the planting out so that I'm not having to harvest all of it at one time. So I have 6 started, and I'll probably wait another week and then I'll plant a few more, if not earlier. It all depends on timing. And then in this bed here, I have Napa cabbage. So Chinese cabbages in this bed here. So I planted 3 healthy cabbage starts, and then one that was not so healthy, but it's doing really well. So I am very happy with the state that it's in. And then on the back side here, I planted onion. So I have onion all the way down the back side here. Now I'm leaving space for a couple rows of carrots in the front here, as well as more Napa cabbage in the center here. In the back of this bed here, and that bed, and maybe the back side of that bed there, we will have tomatoes, but I'm not using cattle panel trellis like here. I'm going to use an 8-foot stake, and we will be staking those up, which will be a different method. That's everything we have growing outside. So let me share with you what I still have in my indoor growing space in my indoor growing tent. So let's go there next. In the indoor growing space, up high here, I have my flowers. They've pretty much all broken ground, and I will be up potting a lot of those in the next week, if time permits. Here I have some cabbage. I have celery I need to get outside, as well as, what else do I have in here? I have basil and some additional salad that I started as well. In this very back corner, these are my seed share seeds from Guten Gardenings. So I need to take those peppers and those tomatoes and that curly kale and get it up potted so it can continue to grow. There's some more lettuce. There's some more flowers back there as well. Down here, I have all of my peppers, well, one flat of my peppers. They're growing very well. I just clipped the tips off of these peppers so I can make a shorter, bushier plant that may not even need to be staked or supported in any way. This plant here is my orange hat tomato, and look, there's a tomato. There are multiple blooms on this plant, and tomatoes are coming in. So I'm going to leave this orange hat in my growth tent for at least a couple more weeks, and then I'll take it outside and harden it off. But I will not add it to a GreenStalk. I will let it continue to grow in this container. Over here is the last of my lettuce that's ready to be harvested. This is dynamite, and it tastes like dynamite. It's delicious. And I have some more peppers over here. Again, I just clipped the tips off of those. Sweet potatoes are doing amazing. I've harvested off about 8 of the slips already, and there's another 3 or so that are ready to be harvested. And over here are more peppers. So I have roughly 100 peppers that are ready to go. In the next few days, I will get the peppers outside and I will start hardening them off as well. And in my little container here are all of my slips. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this or not, but the water was smelling kind of like sulfur. So I poured the water off and refilled the water. It was kind of like stale. So I refilled it. It has fresh water, and I'll do that maybe once every couple of weeks or so, or if it gets that real sulfury smell to it. I want to make sure they stay healthy because I don't want to pay $25 for 10 sweet potato slips. That's my April 11th weekly update and garden tour. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. There will be tons and tons and tons more video coming your way. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.